Hi everyone, welcome to Fast Intelligent Care. On today's episode, we have Jemma Cooke. Jemma, for those that don't know you, would you be able to give us a brief introduction, your role, where you're from, how you came to be in this role as well?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. My name's Jemma. I'm an occupational therapist. Currently, I'm working for a company called Hospital at Home. It's a hospital at home by Linet, which is part of the Linet Australia and the Linet Global Group. A little bit of background about me. I've been working as an occupational therapist for about 6 years, close to 6 years. Started out my career working in the acute wards at Shaw at the hospital there. Then I moved into the community space about a year after that. And then I've been sort of working in community ever since then. Previously, I was sort of working, doing the OT assessments, client, home visits, things like that, equipment prescription. And then I moved into the role at Hospital at Home as a OT account manager, and also now in the education training space.
Wonderful, thank you. So Jemma, with the role that you have now, do you have a favorite part of it that's like that you're really passionate about?
I think I'd have to say like the OT role. Obviously that's why I got into the job. But I love the different aspects of the role. So I don't feel like I'm just an OT.
Yes.
I get to work with a lot of therapists, as the occupational therapist working side by side. But then, my role as, account manager, which basically is like, working in sales. So there's been sort of some cool perks about that sort of role. And then recently getting into the training and education space, I feel like I'm thriving in that area. For a little while now, it's sort of where I kind of saw my career heading, the space that I want to get into. I'm really passionate about that.
Wonderful. So in our interview, we'll be going through 4 parts. So we're going to start our part 1 with seating, but we'll go through manual handling. We'll go through beds and pressure care with mattresses. So with seating, Jemma, what type of clients do you commonly see coming into hospital and hospital at home? What are the typical prescriptions you're doing? Is it more recliners, wheelchairs? What kind of conditions are you seeing?
Yeah, so we see a range of different clients. Predominantly, I work with older adults, but I do some work with NDIS participants, people with disabilities as well. But more so, it's the elderly clients that I'm seeing. So they, they're coming both into the hospital home showroom, and I'm also working with them in the community. I'd say recliner chairs and adjustable beds are probably the main sort of equipment that I do a lot of. But in saying that, I also see clients, for wheelchairs and seating and just simple bathroom sort of aids. I'd say, as a general, I'd see plenty of different people.
Yeah. So when we look at things like recliner chairs, what are some key things that you would consider for those clients, if it's like aged care or elderly clients? What are some of the features that you're really wanting to consider when it comes to recliner chairs?
Yeah, so definitely with recliner chairs, the lift function is a key feature that we're looking at, because most of these people are coming in and they're wanting a comfortable chair. Most of them are, struggling to get in and out of their current chair. They've got reduced strength. They're just not comfortable with the setup. So whether they've got a really old recliner chair that was, another family members or passed down, or some of them are currently just sitting on a lounge or a chair that's just really not suitable for them. So most of the people that do come in, they've, got really reduced strength. They're just struggling to get in and out, and they're just looking for something comfortable and something that's going to fit into their home and, make their lives a little bit easier. Definitely, I'd say the lift function, more people, tilt in space, that sort of feature, because I'm finding that, we're seeing more clients that have got more complex needs that are coming in, and it's obviously not just your aged care sort of clients, people with disabilities and complex needs as well.
Yeah. Are you finding that a lot of clients are sleeping in their recliner chairs? Or is that maybe more community um, certain disabilities? Or is that something that you think is becoming a bit more common?
Yeah, I'd say there's not a heap, but I definitely do see it. I'd say it's particularly elderly clients. Some of them, the reasoning for them sleeping in their recliner chairs is because they're just not comfortable, in their bed. They're not unable to lay flat. They might just have a standard bed. They don't have an adjustable bed. So getting in and out of the recliner chair is a lot easier than them getting in and out of bed. Also, they might just have really reduced, reduced mobility, reduced strength. So having that recliner chair set up, might be in the lounge room. It means that they can access, other parts of the home a lot more easily. They're not sort of stuck in their bedrooms. So, they might be a little bit more social, be able to engage a bit more with, other family members or people coming into the home. So I'm definitely seeing it more and more. In saying that, there is clients that are sort of sleeping in their chairs, and I obviously wouldn't really recommend it because, the chairs don't have, pressure care. It's not the right material. The chair might be breaking down. So it's not really doing them any good. And obviously being in the chair is quite restricting for them. They're unable to reposition themselves. They're sort of stuck in that same position.
Yeah.
Even though, most of the chairs, all the recliner chairs have the option, especially the electric chairs, you can change the positioning of them, which is always encouraged. But for most of these people, sort of they'll get into the chair and they'll stay in that position, whether it's, reclined back, or I even have some, clients that are sitting upright.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a skill.
Yeah. Definitely doesn't look very comfortable.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's sort of how they manage, and they manage to get some sleep, and they're more comfortable like that than, reclined back.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it is a difficult one to address, because you do want your client to have that independence, be able to, because that maybe is giving them the ability to actually transfer out of, where they would have struggled to transfer out of bed, now they can transfer out of the chair.
Yeah.
But yeah, pressure care I think is a big part of it, because I think the new international guidelines talk about seating being like a very high risk position compared to lying in bed. And I guess with your chair, depending on what chair they're lying in, what recliner chair it is, some might be a little bit better suited for that, but it's still, if you think of your 24-hour postural management, not ideal to be staying on the same surface the whole day.
Definitely not, and especially these people that aren't changing their position and
Yeah.
they're sleeping in a chair, but that means they're actually spending all day in the chair as well. So it, out of the 24 hours, majority of their time is spent in the chair. It's sort of just when they're getting up to go to the toilet, maybe getting up to, make something to eat. So out of that 24 hours, it's a significant amount of time is spent in that chair, which is, quite concerning.
Yeah. Would you recommend to OTs that are seeing their clients sleeping in recliner chairs to investigate maybe whether it's the bed or the mattress, or if it's transfer aids or something like that? Or what is or maybe even looking at what can you do to the chair to make the chair more suitable for that? I mean, you don't want to encourage it, but if you know that they're going to be sleeping in it anyway, what would you usually, is there something that you would say to OTs that have that issue with clients sleeping?
Definitely. I think it's really important to find out, why the client is sleeping in their chair. So like I mentioned before, like often the issue is that they're unable to get in and out of a regular bed. So, they've just got a standard bed at home. It's flat. They live alone, and, they're high risk of falls. So they may, the main concern may be that, oh, well, I'm going to sleep here because it's going to be safer for me because I can still get in and out. Whereas if I go and sleep in a regular bed, I might fall out of bed, or I might not be able to get out of bed. So I think it's definitely important to look into why it is. So whether it's, it's the bed is the issue, like I mentioned before, it could be that they like where the chair is actually set up, and it means that they can actually engage with people because they might be sort of bed or seating bound. So by them just spending all their time in the recliner chair, means that they can engage more with people coming into the home. So I think it is important, for OTs to find out, the reason behind that, and if it is that they're going to continue to sleep in the chair, because it might be that they've been doing that for many, many years. Especially when you're working with, these elderly clients, it's hard for some of them to sort of change their ways, or sort of to convince them to sort of change their ways. So it would be looking at how can we make this chair, more comfortable, more suitable, safer, or do we need to look at replacing that chair completely, and looking at something that maybe is going to be safer for them to sleep in the chair.
Yeah. Okay. And when it comes to cushion selection, which I know is quite a tricky part to do because there's so many out there to choose from, what are some of the most challenging presentations that you've come across with choosing a cushion? So whether it's like a postural presentation, or if it's specific conditions, or whether it's like choosing a cushion but then having someone that's incontinent, what are some of those challenging presentations, and what's usually your go-to to try and solve that?
Yeah, so I'd say for me, the sort of complex clients, specifically those with, postural issues, difficulties maintaining an upright posture, significant leans, those sort of clients are always quite tricky. When it gets to that really complex sort of seating stuff, for me, I'd say it's a little bit more outside my scope. That's when I probably look to engage, with another supplier, another, maybe they've got an OT working for them that sort of works more specifically in the seating space. However, I have come across, some clients, with some, I'd say, sort of moderate sort of postural issues. So it can be tricky trying to find the right cushion for them. Another thing I'd say is like, people, clients with pressure injuries, that's always difficult. So whether they've got a, existing pressure injury, it's sort of like figuring out whether, trying to work out how much time they can spend out of bed. Because obviously when there's a pressure injury, specifically when we're talking about the sacrum, around the bottom, that area, we don't want them sitting upright. So yeah, that can be another tricky one, trying to find the right cushion for them, because when you're trying to heal the wound, you really don't want them sitting at all. However, they might, not want to spend all their time in bed. So it's kind of trying to find that balance there. That can be tough. Yeah.
And do you have any seating success stories where you had a client that you had just the right chair that made quite a significant difference in their life?
Yeah, I'd say.
Or even a cushion?
Yeah, probably a few. Definitely with seatings, there's probably not one specific one. I will mention I do love the Configurer chair. It is great for, clients that do have those postural sort of issues and pressure care. It sort of ticks a lot of boxes there. So I've had some really good success, with the chair. Obviously you've got so many adjustments that you can do to it, to help, that person maintain a more upright position. And that's just with the chair without adding anything. And then obviously you've got all the different, postural supports and backrests and cushions and things like that you can use to help that person even more. So I've definitely recommended the chair to multiple clients, and they've gone from like having a really significant lean, being slumped over in their chair, and then all of a sudden we're able to get them in something, and their posture is, a lot better.
Yeah, I think for me, having prescribed recliner chairs before knowing about the Configurer, seeing the difference that just something as simple as getting the right size, and not even, you haven't even got to like pressure care and postural supports yet, but just the big difference that just having the right size chair can make on someone's posture, but also the ability to actually transfer out of the chair. So for me, going forward, whenever I'm thinking of recliner chairs, modular is kind of my
Yep. Definitely starting and it's great that so many more, I'm finding a lot more recliner chairs, and like a lot of suppliers are now coming out with, not just one size, because it's
Yes.
definitely not a one size fits all. So having multiple different sizes to accommodate, different size people, different body shapes. And like you said, like that size can really help with, sitting and posture. So it's really
Yeah.
important. It is good to see.
Great. Thank you. So we will end off today's episode where we talked about seating. We will go on to our second episode, part 2, where we'll be talking about manual handling or moving and handling of people.